Welcome to the Porch Swing Chronicles, where faith meets real talk. Rooted in God and conservative values, unpacking everything from family and culture to politics and purpose. Pull up a seat. This is more than conversation; it's community. Hey, my name is Cheyenne, and I'm one of your hosts. Today we're going to be talking about our first year in motherhood.
I'm Bailey, and I'm a mother of four. So I even have a lot of first year in motherhood with even there's a lot, but we'll stick with just your very first year of actually becoming a mother. Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, my name is Amy, and I have two kiddos, and we welcome you here. We hope that you find that these podcasts can be not only helpful, but hopefully inspirational, and you can get something out of them. And we're going to talk about the first year of motherhood. That's been a little while ago for me, but I still remember. I remember it all.
Okay, yeah. So being, with this podcast, we do have a age variety, like an age gap in the two of the hosts compared to the two younger hosts. And let's talk about even, your first year of motherhood. And then maybe we'll go ahead and talk about the differences and the same that you hear. So Amy, let's start off with you and talk about your first year of motherhood.
Oh boy. I know like the first year of motherhood for me with Cass was hard. I mean, especially as a new mom. I remember being scared to death. I had a pretty healthy pregnancy with her. But the first year of her baby life, I think I was so scared as a mom of, messing up. I think I was scared of everything in a way, you know what I mean? Like as a mom, it's so hard because you don't want them sick and you don't want anything to harm them or whatever. And I think I was so overprotective with her. Being a first mom, I remember Chris's mom wanting to keep her. I think she was maybe around 6 months old or something. And I remember sitting there crying my eyes out because she wanted to keep her overnight, and I didn't want to let her go because I mean those are your babies and those are the children that you've raised and that you had and you have this connection with, and you just feel like you don't want anybody else to have them or connect with them, not necessarily connect with them, but like I was just so scared to let her go or let her do anything. As a first time mom, it is definitely a struggle. It is hard, and I can't even imagine you beautiful women that have had to do a lot of that on your own and whatever, because the first year is tough. I mean, because you're learning everything. You're learning how to be a mom. You're learning how to do all these things for this human that you've been able to bring into the world. And it's scary. It's beautiful though at the same time, because you look at that miracle. I mean, my kids are older now and I still look at them like, oh my gosh, I can't believe God let me, of all people, be their mom, like how blessed am I? So who's next?
And how old were you when you became a mom?
I was 26.
26. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
So,
Diane, we'll start now with the youngest.
all right, baby girl.
Next is the youngest of the group. You're on mute.
She's muted.
My first year as a mama was pretty tough. I felt as though I was alone. I did not have PPD, postpartum depression. I did not have postpartum depression. I actually had a bunch of things going on in my life around that time. And so I felt like I was the only one that could actually protect my little girl. And like Amy said, when the grandparents want to keep the kids and they're only, they're like so small and it feels like you just had them.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time when it was just to go to the gas station, and I left Emily at her grandparents' house just to go to the gas station, and I cried the entire time. Like 5 minutes there and 5 minutes back because I was just like, she's my little baby. I don't want anything to happen. And you know what? The first, I think, month or two of her life, I had her in the crib, and I couldn't do it. I could not because I was so scared of SIDS, and I was like, I don't want anything happening. I kept waking up and everything. I did not get enough sleep. But I noticed that once I had her sleeping with me, I was fine. I was fine and dandy. I could sleep all day, night long, and I knew that she was safe. So, and that's kind of like even now, like it's really hard for me to leave her somewhere because of the connection that I have have with her, and because I am her mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she's with me, I know where she is and I know that she's safe. But if she goes to her grandparents' house and she's in the pool, I'm like, I don't want anything happening to her, you know. But as a parent, I think you're always going to have that worry over your kid. But the first year, I definitely felt alone. I felt like I was definitely doing it a lot of the times. And, you know, I was going to school, dealing with relationship issues, dealing with, you know, a death in the family. I did it all. And I still was able to take care of her and have this connection with her with help along the way. So, yeah. Oh, and I was 22 when I had her. Yeah.
Okay. My first year, so I have 4 kids. My first year, I was 19 when I got pregnant and 20 when I had my first. So just barely a year out of high school, found out I was pregnant like a year and a few months, maybe. Graduated a year and a half because I graduated early. And again, if you listen to go back to our previous podcast, you'd hear me say I actually didn't want any kids. So to find out I'm pregnant, and y'all are gonna laugh, okay? I think I've said it on one of our earlier podcasts, but my friend thought she was pregnant and she just wanted me to take a test to ease her mind. Like she's like, just take one with me, just help me ease my mind. So we both went in separate bathrooms, and she's like, I'm good. And
Oh, I lost her volume.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
And I keep getting calls. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I just put it on do not disturb. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm doing team jerseys for my son's baseball team. So, and I'm in charge of it. So, all of
More
a sudden, I'm
mom
like, of
stuff.
course, right when I'm doing something else, right? But I was scared. I was completely scared because this was not planned. Of course, you know, had her at 20, and this is going to be very controversial topic for a lot of moms that also probably don't want to talk about it, but I will. I didn't have a bond with my first daughter for probably the good year. I do firmly believe that a lot of it has to do was because she was so swiftly put on my chest. Like I remember it so quickly, and I just looked at her, and again, like I'm crying. She was so beautiful, but I was like, holy crap! I was like, I just made this human being, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with her? But she was literally laid on my chest for 10 seconds and then swept away, and I didn't get to hold her again for 3 hours. For 3 hours, they had my baby, and nothing was wrong with her. Nothing was wrong. She was so healthy. She was 8 pounds 6 ounces, had a head full of hair. She was 2 weeks late. She had blonde highlights, dark brown hair, and blonde little tips. That's what we joked. She was in there getting her hair done. You know, because she just had to have the blonde highlights. But she was put on me for 10 seconds and swift away to get bathed. And then her dad held her. And it finally was the doctors had to like intervene to sit there and say she needs to eat now. And so because my other 3 weren't off of me for 2 hours. Like I was able to feed them. They just wiped them off with a towel. Like I firmly believe that initial bonding, yes, we do carry them. It is there. It's a natural motherly instinct. But now she's also one of my strongest bonds. Like even though she's my oldest and I didn't get that bond with that first time, but it was like, I'm not going to say it wasn't there because I feared, of course, for anything. Like if anything was going to happen to her. Like I didn't want anything to happen to her, but it was very hard for me to connect to her and try to actually make that connection. I still did things, I did things through the motion, but now I'm also understanding I actually probably had PPA, postpartum anxiety, not depression, but anxiety because it definitely got worse with each pregnancy. I won't go into too much details, but like we went hiking with my second one when he was about 1, and we went on a hike I hadn't gone before and found out there was cliffs, and like the entire time I was like shaking and like tears rolling down my face because I was just like, what if they like walk off the cliff? And I just was like, I was having a panic attack, and I didn't understand that that's what it was. But each kid, it definitely got worse. So, but my first year was definitely difficult as far as in the bonding, but it was still such a beautiful experience all in one. Like, even though that bonding took a lot longer to get there, like more of that very strong bond, I had no problem. Like, I know Cheyenne said that she's like, I didn't want anybody taking her. I didn't want, only I could be the one to take care of her. I had no problem in that sense. Like I was the opposite, and it was because my bond wasn't as strong. It was there. It just wasn't as strong or as needed. And I very much was just like, this is what the doctor said. Like I had no idea how to take care of a baby. So I very much listened to doctors who were like, you start feeding rice at 4 months. And I was like, okay. Like instead of just following what a naturally mother's instinct comes with you, I didn't have any of that, just because it was just, maybe I shut it off because I was so scared, or the PPA, I don't know, or not because of the bond. Because I will tell you what, my next three, and I try to make it up now with my oldest all the time because I have this little mom guilt. But I now all have super strong bonds with them. And but yeah, that first year was very difficult having that PPA, PPP, PPD. PPA doesn't get as often talked about, or not having that bond right away doesn't get often talked about because it's usually such a natural thing. But I often really do believe, my firm belief is just because she was so swift away that I didn't get that skin to skin contact that I got with the rest of my kids.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So I had a C-section baby, and I thought I was gonna be, all natural. I thought I was gonna be pushing, whatever. And I kind of see what you're saying. The only difference is that she was a C-section baby, and I didn't have a bond with her at first. And I felt like it was because I didn't have that skin to skin contact, because as soon as I got out of that room, I was out, and she was already bathed and everything. And I got to see her for a little bit and stuff, but I was like, I didn't get to have that as soon as I had it. Like, what is it when a woman pushes and then they get that hormone that just rushes through their body? Is it dopamine or something?
Yeah.
It's like, dopamine, oxytocin. It's like the happy hormones.
Doesn't that help with the bond?
Endorphin. Yeah, oxytocin. Yeah, oxytocin does, like looking into the eyes. It's released also when you're breastfeeding too. Oxytocin is released when you're breastfeeding. That helps create that bond as well.
Yeah, and see, I didn't get that. And when we went home, like I knew that I was going to be protective of her, right? But I just felt as though like I wasn't as close as what I should have been as a mom. And like you're saying, you have that guilt. Yeah, I have that guilt every day because of that. And when we moved, because we were military, when we moved and I was living with, her grandparents, I had that guilt because I was trying to go to school. I was trying to do this. And so I never really felt like I had that bond that I seen her have with her grandparents, because for whatever, I don't know. I always felt like she was more closer to them, but in reality, like on the outside looking in, I was actually more close to her, especially during nighttime, because nighttime she only wanted me. And that's how I grew to know that I do have a connection with her and I do share this bond with her. And so I do understand the mom guilt, but you have beautiful 4 kids, Bells.
I know.
And you're a good mama. You really are a good mama. You see everything that you're doing. You see, like, girl, you're doing everything for them kids.
Yeah. Did y'all
So,
get to breastfeed or no?
I could not.
I didn't even get milk with Cassidy ever. Never. I never
So
ever
we'll
got milk
talk
with
about the
Cassidy.
bond. I
So
mean, speaking of the bond, because my mom was adopted. And so I do understand that bonds obviously can still happen with adoption, right? But that also, because of the natural things that do happen with breastfeeding, delivering, carrying the baby, it makes that bond easier, but it's still achievable, because I have come across parents that have adopted children that their bond, I'm like, is unbelievably like so strong. And my older two, I was able to breastfeed 4 months, like maybe 5. I was able to push it. I went back to work. I didn't do a whole lot of research. Now I'm understanding between work, and then I believe they had lip ties that went undiagnosed. And lip ties, they can still get food, but they can't get enough. And so between me going back to work and then having undiagnosed lip ties for them, they just weren't getting it. So my older two were half, I would say, like they went to formula about 5 months before I ran out of my storage, and then they went straight to formula after that. And then my younger two were strictly breastfed because I was able to stay at home, and then found out the lip tie thing, and that made all the difference in the world, because then they were able to eat enough that made my body produce more. Because if they're not getting enough, if they don't have that suction that tells your body that your body needs to make more, it's not going to happen. So lip ties, tongue ties, all that can cause issues in production. And some women, this is something a lot of women don't know, you technically never really dry up. So once you have that, you can actually restart at any time. It's what history, it's milkmaids. I don't know if you knew the history of milkmaids, but that's usually what a milkmaid was for moms maybe like Amy that actually couldn't, maybe because of medical reasons, that may not have been able to breastfeed. There was a person that could breastfeed your baby for you. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't
Amy,
either. I didn't know that you could even not have milk come in, but apparently you can.
Yeah, there's, I mean, hormones, there's other things like, medical deformations, things like that, that may cause like you not to be able to, but just like there's medical issues that cause women to not be able to carry a baby, right?
Right.
So yeah, but like since I have successfully breastfeed, if I wanted to, I mean, it would take him, I'd have to retrain my body, but I could get it started right now. Like if I were to go get a breast pump, probably take a while, but I could probably get my milk to come right back in. So trick your body.
Breast milk is so good, especially for when kids are sick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So why do
Absolutely.
people-
And that could be a whole nother podcast on holy crap what they do at the hospital that I have learned in the midst of all of that, and how important it is that first drink that they get, and that you're not supposed to I didn't know you're not supposed to wash your baby. Did you know that you're not supposed to wash your baby for like the first, 2 or 3 days? Because everything, it's kind of like an egg, per se, like a chicken lays an egg, and I bring the egg in the house. You don't clean it. You just stick it in
The bloom that's on the egg protects it.
That's what happens after you have a baby. I didn't know that.
Well, but that's the thing. There's so many. So let's talk about the differences. So we talked, Amy, we got into, it seemed like there was a lot of similarities. But let's talk about the differences of maybe even societal to medical breakthroughs and things like that. Because I have, my oldest she'll be 15, and then my youngest is 3. The breakthroughs from even when I had my oldest to my youngest blows my mind.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't even fathom nowadays. I would do things very, very differently. Very, very differently. But I mean, you live and you learn, and you don't know. And hopefully you just can maybe educate and grow. And maybe when your kids have kids, they can do a step better than you,
That's all we hope for, right?
Right? Okay. This is another half hour. Do we want to close this out and then keep going, or what do you guys would like to do?
Actually, I think we can close it. My kids are about to jump in the car, so I think we can close it.
Okay, that gives us 2, and I won't get yelled at for being an hour this time.
Yeah.
But we should have broke that 2-hour one.
Yeah, I should have broke it up into like 4 increments is what I should have done, but
we live and we learn, right?
Yes, right. We're learning. So anyhow,
All
my
right,
name
who
is
wants to-
Amy, and thank you guys for listening to us. Hopefully you can get something out of what we're hoping to push out to the world. Just be as real as possible, and that it's kind of neat to be able to do this with these women and all of the different age gaps between us, because we can learn from each other and grow with each other. And I just think it's beautiful. So on that note, until next time.
Thank you so much for joining us. I do want to go ahead and put in there, if you feel like you are in your suffering from PPA or PPD, please reach out. There is help. Okay. You are not alone. And that includes, if you feel that you don't bond with your children right away after, that definitely can be a symptom of PPA and PPD. Please reach out. You are not alone.
Yes.
I feel you way more than you know, because I went through it myself. We will make sure that we put some links to some information and some national numbers in this podcast for you to be able to reach out. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
They should be able, those national hotlines should be able to help get you some local information from wherever you're watching and listening.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Cheyenne.
Oh, I thought that you were gonna cut it.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's
I didn't
okay.
know if you wanted to say anything to close us out.
I wanted to, but then I seen you moving, and I was like, oh, well, she's gonna.
Oh,
But
no.
again, my name is Cheyenne, and I really think, as they both said, do not be afraid to reach out. And there will be links and numbers that we will be providing in our to help each and every one of you out. And just know,
Making a list.
mamas, yes, and just know that, mamas, y'all got this.
Mhm.
Y'all got this.
You do.
Um,
You're stronger than you
and
know.
exactly, you
Mm.
are. And when you look into that little baby's eyes,
Mm.
you made that. You
Yeah.
did. You made that. God made that. God
Amen.
gave you the gift to create this beautiful little human being that's gonna love you forever. Um,
Amen.
and just know that you're beautiful and you're strong and you've got this. So no matter what, the Porch Swing Chronicles will support you. So just know that. And we love you and have a great week.